welcome to yet another episode of Absurd Arguments. My name is Matthew, and I'm here with my friend Nathan. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Matthew. How are you doing?
You know, I've had better days. Um,
Oh no.
yeah, I went to a Walmart today and looked at the gas prices, and that's a whole nother story of, why I could be sad. But that wasn't the reason I was sad. I got home and I got a box of Pepsi. I know it's not Coke, but I was feeling
Yeah.
Pepsi today. Um, and so I open it. I start to put some of them in my fridge. And the thing with Pepsi is they come in like boxes of like 15 cans per box now. I don't know if it's like a PR thing or whatever. Just like, I mean, Coke's got 12, Dr. Pepper's got 12, but we've got 15. It's a weird thing. But so I'm taking out Pepsi and I'm putting it into my little can thing on the door of my fridge, and I go to grab the box and move it to my pantry, and one of the cans falls out of the box
Oh.
and right onto my floor, and it busts everywhere. It's got like it hit it just right to where all the pressure moved to where the point of impact was, and so it's just spraying Pepsi everywhere, and it got all over the floor. My stove's right beside my pantry, so I got him on my stove. I got in my pantry, and
Gosh.
my roommate comes out. He goes, because when it happens, I just go, "Oh crap!"
Of course.
And so I pick it up, I throw it in the sink, and my roommate opens his door, and goes, "Yo, man, everything cool?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine." So
See, but I like to imagine you just kind of left the mess there for the ants to enjoy.
you're only partially correct. I did leave the mess there,
Yeah.
but not in that way. I left to go put my groceries away, and then I grabbed a paper towel, I wiped it down, and then I grabbed a little like Clorox wipe, and I put it on the ground and I cleaned off the counters, cleaned off all the stuff, then I threw it on the ground and started kind of mopping it up that way. And so I did for a second leave it, but that was just to put everything else away.
Yeah. Yeah. No, gosh, man, a couple weeks ago, it's like you and I both have butterfingers, man, because a couple weeks ago I went and I got some groceries and I bought a can of like just Louisiana hot sauce,
Mm-hmm.
those no name brand type of hot sauce, and brought it home. And I, Matthew, you know how it is. As a man, you have to prove your manliness by taking all the groceries in one go. Okay. And so I had a lot of groceries. And so I'm bringing them all in one go, and I bring them in and I plop down the bag with the hot sauce in it. And I just plopped it down on the floor too hard and it shattered. And so I had hot sauce all over my floor and like my cans of ravioli. Like it was
Oh
just the
gosh.
smell of hot sauce. And I was just sad because, I mean, it was a 99-cent bottle. So not a huge, like, money
Irreplaceable.
loss.
No, it's irreplaceable.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just coping. But,
Maybe. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess lesson here is don't trust Matthew and I with Pepsis or hot sauces.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't really drop stuff very often, except for my phone. I drop my
Yeah,
phone constantly, mainly because there are sometimes I'm walking in my apartment and I'm about to go sit on my recliner, but I need to grab something from the kitchen, so I just lightly toss my phone onto my recliner, and it's a very cushiony recliner, and so it'll bounce off the seat, then it'll hit the back, and then it'll go back to the seat, and then hit it on the floor. I've done
right.
that countless times, and my phone still works properly.
Yeah.
But anytime
Uh,
I drop anything else, it breaks and
hmm.
shatters. It goes everywhere. It's so weird.
Well, it sounds like you need an opposite day where your phone shatters instead and everything else is intact.
I'd rather not. Honestly, I think that would be more of an unfortunate thing, considering the thing I use the most, according to my screen time of, I'm not even going to mention how many hours I'm on my phone on average, but for the thing I use the most in a day, I'd rather drop that a lot and it break only in like so minute stuff that if I drop it 1,000 times, then it becomes a problem. To where if I drop anything else once, then it breaks. I'd rather it stay this way.
Yeah, I know that, but I am already sending vibes your way that will make your phone drop and break and shatter. So that you could call them negative vibes. I personally don't think so. I think it would be a good growing experience for you if your phone completely shattered. So, do you feel the vibes?
No, I don't feel the vibes.
Ah, I got a vibe harder then.
Oh, please don't say that. Ugh.
Uh, yeah.
Well, at the time of recording, we are getting closer and closer to Father's Day, every man's dream holiday.
Um,
Don't you agree?
I mean, sure. Yeah, I guess so. I I still think it's Christmas. That's the best holiday, or July 4th. If you're an alcoholic, it's St. Patrick's Day. But
You
yeah,
could
I
be an
guess
alcoholic and love Independence Day and St. Patrick's Day and almost any other holiday.
yeah, I suppose. Um, but the thing is, when thinking about Father's Day, we thought, what is it that dads really want? And I think there's two camps. There is the camp that says, you should give your dad a gift for Father's Day. And then there is the camp that says you should just give your dad a break. And so Matthew and I have these, we're going to be arguing about that. So, Matthew, what is your position and how did you have to do your research?
My position is giving your father a gift for Father's Day. And we rolled the dice and we figured out that I was going to use Bing for my research. And just as a side note, I checked Google on the front page of Google, and the results were completely different. I did not look at anything Google said. I only looked at Bing, and I have some of those articles pulled up that I will be referring back to. But my goal was to prove that your father needs a gift on Father's Day by using the wonderful Microsoft Bing.
And I have I'm taking the position that you should give your dad a break for Father's Day. And my source of research had to be I had to watch a movie or a TV show that talked about it. And shockingly, there didn't seem to be a ton of Father's Day um, resources readily available in TV show or movie form, but I managed to find a few episodes that I'm going to talk about that I think support my point, my argument very well. So we will go from
Yes.
there.
Great. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's listen to our wonderful music and go straight into our opening arguments.
My favorite part.
So, Mr. Nathan, I
Mr.
think
Matthew.
for the benefit of the doubt, you should open your argument first with your opening statement to kind of persuade the people to maybe go in your direction, and then I will follow you up with mine. So, would you please begin your opening statement?
Okay. So let's think for a moment about fathers, about our own fathers, about our friends' fathers, our fathers' fathers. Most dads have a job during the week, you know? They got to support the fam. They've got to get that bread, as the kids say, make that money. And so they work their 9 to 5, they clock in, they clock out, they deal with annoying bosses, awful coworkers, stupid clients, whatever aspect of their job is miserable. Okay. And then they come home and their kids are there. And yeah, it's so nice. The kids run up and say, Dad, 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 Um, that's so sweet, so adorable. But gosh darn it, sometimes you just want to sit down and relax and veg and have nobody talk to you. But the wife's got her honeydew list. She's got her list out and she's like, the plumbing needs fixing, the treehouse needs fixing, the electricity needs fixing, the grass needs fixing, the dog needs fixing, all these things that need fixing. And so it's pretty it's a pretty miserable time sometimes to be a dad. You just don't get a break. And so for Father's Day, the best gift you can give your dad, I truly believe this, is just give him a break. You say, "Look, Dad, today's your day. You do whatever you want." The wife says, "Look, honey, the honeydew list, I'm shredding it just for today. I will tape it back together tomorrow. You can get to it next weekend." But just giving your dad a break and just letting him do whatever he wants. No, don't bother him. Don't give him any crappy gifts. Nothing like that. Just let him enjoy himself. I think that's the best gift you could give your dad.
Mm, thank you, sir.
You're
Well,
welcome.
uh, I appreciate it. My opening argument is presented thusly: we live in a society that is filled with consumerism.
Hmm.
Why are we going to set dads to the side in a society like this where you have to be on the top? We got to keep up with the Joneses. We got to keep up with all the good stuff. And there's a lot of times where dads aren't really able to get the cool stuff any other time because they have to, be the provider. They've got to be the one to get out there, get the money, or as you said, as the kids say, the bread, and then come back and repeat the process. We have to, as fathers and as men, we have to keep moving forward. We can't, take a break. There's no time to take a break except for when we're off the clock. And so the thing is, when Mother's Day rolls around, that's such a highly praised day for all the work that the mothers do. But what about the fathers? What about the fathers? Sometimes the best thing to do is to give your dad the gift that he deserves. More than just, hey, dad, I found this cool pair of shoes and I think they're your style. No, it's getting into the mind of your father, figuring out what does he really desire. And that's materialistic because we live in a consumer society, so it's obviously materialistic. It's not anything idealistic like I just want to take a nap. Nonsense. The best way to a person's heart is through money and materialism. And so, my position stands as we have to give fathers the greatest gifts that we can think of by knowing who our fathers are, getting into their minds, and figuring out what materialistic thing can make them satisfied for these next couple hours.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm unconvinced, though, so I think we should keep arguing.
Great.
Well, you don't mind if I start out, do you?
Not at all, because I'm very interested to see what kind of TV shows and movies that you found.
All right. So the first TV show I watched, well, actually, that's a lie. It was the last one I watched, but the one I'm starting with is this old TV show, black and white, called Dennis the Menace.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, you're familiar. I used to read the comic all the time in the funny
Mm-hmm.
papers, and it's for those unfamiliar with Dennis the Menace, it's this little blonde boy who is an absolute menace. His name is Dennis, and he's a total brat. Well, like a good-natured brat towards his neighbor, Mr. Wilson. Um, his parents are somehow accepting of his annoying behavior, but he means well, but it always comes across poorly. Um, so I'm going to talk about the episode. You can actually find it on YouTube if you'd like to watch it for yourself. but I'm going to kind of spoil it, called Father's Day for Mr. Wilson. So the episode starts off with it's Father's Day, and Dennis has hung around his dad all day long. Okay. Now, his dad, for whatever reason, is totally cool with this and is like, this was a fun Father's Day. I had a fun time. So they invite their neighbors, Mr. Wilson and Mr. Wilson's wife. I don't know her name.
I would
Um,
assume Mrs. Wilson.
oh man, yeah, that's good. I think it's like an older name, like Eleanor or Hazel. Yeah.
Gertrude.
Oh, Gertrude. Mhm. She ain't built. I'm
Shout out to all
sorry,
the Gertrudes out there.
Matthew. She's not built like a Gertrude.
We don't have time to get into what that actually means, but anyways, please continue.
um, and so Mr. Wilson comes over and he's like pretty much bragging about how he doesn't have children and has never had to celebrate Father's Day. Now, that actually doesn't happen, but that's how I interpreted it. Now, he also talks about this unfortunate incident where his dog, Fremont, it's such a dumb name for a dog, his little dog, Fremont, has bit his neighbor's leg and he's got a lawsuit against him for it. And Dennis, the moron, is like, oh, yeah, I did see him bite that guy's leg. And Mr. Wilson's like, really? And Dennis goes, yeah, but the neighbor tried to kick him first. And Mr. Wilson's like, oh, could you be my witness to the lawyer? And Dennis is like, sure. So the next day rolls
Hmm.
around, and Dennis feels bad for Mr. Wilson because Mr. Wilson doesn't have children. He's never had a Father's Day. And so he joyfully tells his parents, hey, I'm going to go give Mr. Wilson a great Father's Day. And his parents totally support him in this, probably because it just gets him out of the house, out of their hair. And so the next day, Dennis goes over to Mr. Wilson's house and is like, Mr. Wilson, I'm just going to stay around you all day long to give you a great Father's Day. And you can just, like, now the actor is so subtle because he doesn't actually do this, but you can just see the color drain out of his face. Like, it looks more black and white than usual, you know? Like, extra
That's
white.
impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Wilson, okay, he doesn't send Dennis away because he's like, if I send Dennis away, he won't be my witness anymore because he's an emotional child. So Mr. Wilson has to suffer through Dennis being around all day. So the only good thing about him being around is this one scene where Mr. Wilson is sitting on his hammock and Dennis runs up to him and goes, here's this pipe. You want to smoke it? And he starts smoking it. And sorry. And Mr. Wilson says, what's in this pipe? And Dennis, the drug lord, says grass. and and Mr. Wilson's like, bruh, no. Mr. Wilson's like, what do you mean? And he gets excited because he thinks like Dennis really hooked him up. But no, Dennis just got grass from the lawn and put it in the pipe for him to smoke.
What the heck is going on?
I don't know. I don't know, Matthew. It's the
Oh
craziest
my
part of the
god.
episode. Um, but the most integral part to me was Mr. Wilson's trying to take a nap on the couch, and he goes, Dennis, if you want a good Father's Day for me, then you'll be real quiet. And Dennis, the Chad, goes, fine, I won't talk. I'll just whisper at you.
Oh
And then he
no.
just stands there and stares at Mr. Wilson, who just says, please stop staring at me and go away. Yeah. But, I mean, to bring it to a close, the episode ends with the revelation that Fremont, who bit that other neighbor's leg that was giving Mr. Wilson the lawsuit, that neighbor has a wooden leg. And so the dog bit the wooden leg, which is okay, I guess. And so the lawsuit was dropped.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
But
old TV was great. So
it's
yeah,
definitely something. Well, I've got a few things to counter that. So the
okay.
first thing I think is an obvious thing. Mr. Wilson isn't a dad.
Yeah, I know. That's how much he wants to avoid getting gifts for Father's Day. He just never had children.
Gosh, I didn't know Mr. Wilson was such a stickler for hating kids. I know he didn't
Yeah,
like
he
Dennis, but gosh.
if he lived in the modern day, he'd be on those Reddit r/child free subreddits.
Oh gosh. Well, one thing that can probably change Mr. Wilson's mind, I would think, was according to um, the spruce.com in their article Best Father's Day Gifts, he should get a gift basket from the Magnolia Bakery, the world renowned New York bakery.
Oh no.
Now, this is the first time I've ever heard of Magnolia Bakery. Me being a true Texan, when I heard Magnolia, I thought of Chip and Joanna Gaines down in Waco. That sort of
Yeah, Chip.
Magnolia.
Yeah, the Chippendales classic bakery down there.
Chip and Joanna Gaines. And
Right.
so maybe if he got the apparent world renowned New York bakery, Magnolia Bakery, if he got something like that, like a signature banana pudding, three banana pudding cookies, two double fudge brownies on his special day, maybe that would change his mind. Or the Spruce also has a lots of real good suggestions, such as Uncommon Goods baseball stadium blueprints.
Wait.
So you can give your dad the blueprints to any sort of baseball stadium, such as Fenway Park, Wrigley Field, Yankee Stadium, whatever it is. You can give your dad a picture of blueprints.
So like he can build it himself then.
No, that
So
would
it's like
cost
a
a million
project.
billions of dollars. That would be ridiculous.
Maybe he could do like a little model of the baseball field.
Maybe. I mean, he's got the blueprints for it. Um,
Yeah.
you could also give him a the, something that would change Mr. Wilson's heart indefinitely is a rise garden, personal rise garden.
A what garden?
A rise garden,
What does a
R
rise
I
garden
S
look like?
E.
I know how to spell it, Matthew.
I'm just making sure because when I first read through it, I thought it said rice. And I'm looking at the picture here, and that's not a rice plant. But the planter is only 18 inches long, so it's small and
Uh-huh.
compact. It's perfect for apartments or small places, and you can grow herbs, vegetables, or leafy greens. So you can have a garden inside.
Is it portable?
Well, since it's only 18 inches long, I don't know how much it weighs, but I would assume it probably is.
I mean, that's a subway foot long and a half of a subway foot long, so you could just
That's
I can
true.
carry those around. So yeah, you could carry around this rise garden.
Yes, you can also give him a book that is called Dude, You're Gonna Be a Dad, How to Get Both of You Through the Next 9 Months. You can give that to your father on Father's Day. And just a little, this might be a little graphic for some people, but on the cover, there are sperm cells wiggling around.
Oh man. I,
Yes.
as a 30-year-old man, that sounds like a book I want to give my father who doesn't plan on having any more children anytime soon.
Well, that's just unfortunate because you could it's if it's on the spruce. Let me tell you something about the spruce. I scrolled all the way to the bottom of the uh, article, and
Yeah.
apparently this roundup was written by Patrice J. Williams. She has contributed gift guides to the spruce since 2020 and loves helping her friends and family find unique, thoughtful, and wallet-friendly gifts.
Are you
Additional reporting was done by Julia Fields, a lifestyle writer for the Spruce brands, covering all things surrounding toys, gifts, and holidays. She's also covered similar topics in other roles, including toy reviews, product roundups, expert focused articles, and more.
Well, surely, I mean, they know what they're talking about. They must have fathers of their own. And clearly their fathers must have also loved these gifts.
I would assume so. I just, that's one of the things I always do is I always go to women to figure out gifts I don't.
for yourself?
Although in my opening argument, I might be going against myself slightly, but I would never trust another guy telling me what I should get a guy because I'm never going to know that.
Well, I this leads me to my next episode of someone who did not love the gifts they received. Um, you ever watch the Cosby Show back in the day?
Back before all the recent uh, controversy surrounding Bill Cosby, yes, I
Yeah,
have.
yeah, same. The thing is, it's unfortunate that I this is just Matthew. I just didn't have a ton of resources. Okay, so
And it's understandable.
some of the resources I had to go to were just classic stuff like the Cosby Show. So, um, it's a shame with him going to jail and all that and being convicted, but there is this one classic scene. I think it's in season 1. It's a Christmas episode, okay? Now you may be thinking, why would I bring up a Christmas episode? Because there's this
That those are my
great.
thoughts exactly.
Okay, so this Christmas episode starts off. Um, Actually, I don't know how it starts off. I just looked up the Father's Day scene, but there's there's this part where he and his wife, I think her name's Claire in the show, he's sitting in the bed with her, and they're chatting, and he talks to her about Father's Day, and he goes,
Mm,
you only get me stuff you want to see me in. He goes, I only get stuff they only sell for Father's Day. So he goes to his closet and he digs around in there for a minute and he brings out this box and he comes and shows her and he goes, look, these ties, none of them go with anything I wear. Okay, so he shows her all these ties and he goes, I have a soap on the rope. I do not know how to use soap on the rope. And then he shows another item. He goes, I don't know what the child was drinking when they gave me this. Okay. And so the funniest bit though is he puts this goofy looking belt on, these suspenders. He has this white and blue golf hat. He puts on this giant yellow tie and these weird like night vision goggles kind of.
mm, mm-hmm.
And then he turns off the light in the room, which is relatively kind of dangerous with Bill Cosby, but
Agreed.
he turns off the light in the room and then all of those clothing items light up. Like he puts these switches and they all have lights and they're hilarious.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And my favorite line though is he goes downstairs wearing all of that bizarre getup in front of his kids and they're laughing at him, making fun of him. And they're like, are you seriously going to wear that to work? And he goes, oh yeah, these are the gifts that you gave me. And he goes, now for Father's Day, uh, please don't get me stuff like this. Please get me stuff that I would actually want. And the kids just are dying laughing, and they're like, Father's Day isn't until next year. It's almost Christmas. And he goes, I'm giving you 6 months notice. So perhaps it doesn't support my point perfectly, but it does. I think it illustrates something important that kids just don't know how to give their dads a good gift for Father's Day. And I think it'd just be better if they just gave them a break instead.
Mm. Well, I have a counterpoint to that.
Yeah? Is it more
New York,
gifts?
it is more gifts, surprisingly. New York Times has a section called the Wire Cutter. And in the Wire Cutter, they have a list of the 26 best Father's Day gifts. I'm going to tell you this that the list here, almost every single thing is different from the Spruce's list. And so we've got some interesting things to go through. And yes, of course, this was written by two people. One of them was Dory Shevlin. She is a writer from Youngstown, Ohio, and is now
Mm-hmm.
living in Los Angeles. And the other one is Gregory Hahn. So we have our first
Yes.
male writer writing about gifts
Gregory.
for men. Gregory Hahn.
Gregory.
So, this list it's got a lot of basic stuff, stuff that wouldn't really prove my point. One of them is comfy slippers. One of them is like a thermos, so you could drink coffee while you're going stuff. One of them says a cool T-shirt. One of them is a
Wait,
chess set. Yes, a cool T-shirt.
what is does it what does it say on the front?
It is a white T-shirt.
It's it's just literally
So this is the Bonobos soft everyday tee, and in parentheses, about $30 at the time of publication. So you're telling me this top rated white T-shirt for men is $30. I went to Walmart and bought a pack of undershirts from Hanes for $16, and there were like 4 or 5 bad boys in there, and they're some of the most comfortable shirts I have. So you ain't got to spend $30 on one T-shirt. But
not sponsored by Walmart or Hanes, by the way, just pointing
not
that out.
sponsored by any of these products we have mentioned. I have mentioned so far, and I have nothing against any of the writers of any of these articles. I just wanted to point out that most of them are women because men are
Hmm.
abysmal at trying to figure out what men want. But one thing I can say is this is the most intriguing thing on this list. This is a Pocket Art Director 2.
A
One of the
what?
hardest parts of fatherhood is being responsible for making some of life's most difficult and lasting decisions. I'm going to hit you with this real sentence that is describing a real product. This 20-sided die is intended to take a little pressure off professional or personal decision making with a design that is instantly recognizable for any self-professed geek or nerd. And let me tell you what some of these things in the picture they provided, what some of these decisions say.
Yeah.
Approved. Is that Helvetica not original enough? Zoom out. Bump it up 5%. Add more white space. So those are just a few of the selections that this 20-sided die that is intended for professional or personal decision making. And so if let's say your your wife walks into the room and she says, "Honey, I need you to clean the dishes. I did the cooking. I need you to clean the dishes." And you're going to roll this 10-sided die and you're going to say whatever it says. And you're going to roll on the space that says bump it up 5%. I would say that is equivalent to rolling a natural 1. That is the worst possible thing you could say.
No,
Or you
I don't
could
know.
you could roll it, and it gets to, you roll it, and you're like, "Honey, I need you to clean the dishes." You roll it. Zoom out.
I I I think it could be even more problematic uh if, let's say, you're at the water cooler at work and the topic of, like, you know, racism, Black Lives Matter
Mm,
comes up,
mm.
and you're thinking to yourself, I really want to input this. The real natural one, Matthew, in that situation is you roll the dice and it says needs more white space. Matthew, this dice is the worst gift you could possibly give anyone.
No, what you just described is the
I would roll the dice in that
no,
situation, Matthew.
no.
I would have to know what to say.
Here's a do-it-all gardening tool. Oh crap. Um, what about what? Oh, here's a. Oh gosh. Oh no.
Matthew.
Here's
We need
here's a
it.
fitness
Wait,
tracker. Here's a fitness charge
Matthew,
5. It's
stop.
it,
Matthew,
yeah.
I have one more episode to discuss. Okay,
Okay.
this will be my final point, and I think this is the perfect illustration of what I mean when just give your father a break for Father's Day.
Mm,
And I think it answers the question because you said dads are abysmal at knowing what they want for
mm.
Father's Day, and this one is takes the cake. Are you familiar? You know who Chris Rock is, right?
I do.
The
I
famous
do.
comedian, the voice of the zebra in Madagascar, I think.
I think that's the only thing he's known
Yeah.
for. Not anything recently. I have no idea.
Anyway,
But
he
yeah.
had a show made on his life called Everybody Hates Chris, and he would
Mm,
narrate it. Um, And there was in season 1, episode 22, the final episode of the season, there's a Father's Day themed episode. And at the beginning of the episode, um, it starts off with them talking about how great Mother's Day is and things like that, and how everybody's clueless about what to get their dad for Father's Day. And so they asked their dad, Julius, what would you like for Father's Day? And he kind of brushes it off at first, and they go, no, really, what would you want? And he goes, y'all want to get me something? I know exactly what I want. A day off. A day off from everything and everybody. No fighting, no shouting, no complaining, no fixing. One day where I can do whatever I feel like doing. And there's even a scene in this episode where it's like an homage to the Cosby Show scene. He brings out a box in the kitchen, weirdly enough. I don't know why he keeps it there. No, maybe the dining room. So he brings it out, and it's just a box of garbage gifts he's received for Father's Day. And one of them is like a cigar box covered with macaroni shells. And he said he has 4 ties, and he goes, he has a blue collar job. He never goes anywhere that requires a tie, you know? And so the episode goes on, and Chris, his son Chris, is like, I really want to still get my dad something. You know, and he talks to his white friend who's like, I'm just going to make my dad a good breakfast of Cap'n Crunch and cantaloupe, his favorite things. Okay. And Chris is like, yeah, I don't know about that. And so he goes to a local shopkeeper. The shopkeeper said, well, my dad loves liquor, guns, and women. Well, Chris can't get his dad any of those things. That's not right. Okay. And so he's struggling with that. So Father's Day finally arrives. They make breakfast for their dad. They bring it in bed. And he
Mm-hmm.
just kind of looks at his family and
Mm-hmm.
goes, aw, sweet. Now when y'all leaving? so so the wife takes all the kids out, and so the episode goes, it describes what he did. He slept on the couch, he slept on the bed, he slept on the dining room table, he watched bowling, he watched baseball, he watched golf, he did stuff we didn't know he liked to do. And so you see Terry Crews painting, a self-portrait or whatever that looks amazing. um
It's like a weird take on Shaggy's "It Wasn't Me," except for everything the song's about. It's just talking about where he was taking naps.
yeah, pretty much,
He
exactly.
did it on the bedroom, in the bedroom, on the couch, on the kitchen
Yeah.
table, at the golf course.
And yeah, that's pretty accurate. But Chris has a great line. He says, "The hardest thing than buying a gift for the man who has everything is buying a gift for the man who wants nothing." Which I think is
Mm,
very true. If he doesn't want
it is
anything, just
powerful.
give him a break. Very powerful. Now, his dad does, and I think my own father has complained about this before, the silence gets to him because his wife and kids are gone. And then what makes matters worse is he watches a nature documentary about a father goose protecting his baby geese. um, and that got to him. And so he goes, finds his wife and kids at the local movie theater and watches a movie with them.
Oh,
But Chris gets his dad one gift, and I think this is a good gift. He comes to his dad and he goes, Dad, I don't know. I didn't know what to get you. And like the mom's behind him going, you need to say you like the gift, whatever it is. And so he hands his dad an envelope and he goes, this is what I got you. And his dad opens it and it's a receipt. And Chris paid his dad's electric bill
oh.
for the apartment. And it was just a really heartwarming moment until his dad goes, this is so great. I think it would be awesome if you got a part-time job so you can pay more bills all the time. So I don't know. I think that's my prime evidence for why you should give your dad a break for Father's Day.
You know what? I'd give my dad a straw hat.
Yeah, you should. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed our absurd argument for today. I hope you can continue listening to us. And if you have any feedback for us or any questions at all, you can email us at absurdargumentsforyou@gmail.com. Absurd arguments, the number 4, the letter U, at gmail.com. Anything else you'd like to tell our audience, Matthew?
Be sure to check out your podcast places, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the many other places. We're continuing to expand where we're putting it out, but it'll be on Thursdays. And so always tune in to listen to us. And if the podcast platform you're listening to has a rating system or a place to leave reviews or comments, please do. But also continue to send us emails so that we know where we can improve. But that's all we have for this week. Nathan, do you have any parting words?
Be cool, everyone.
Indeed. Be cool, everyone. We'll see you next time.